Hello. All right. Is this working or no? No. Okay. So.
Just boom, the voice.
Gotcha. Okay. I got some bowls I've done, and I'm gonna take you through some of the good and some of the not so good. So this is the first bowl that I did. I don't know if that's useful. This is a maple bowl. And I love that spalting right there. The thing about this is this wood is like really punky. And so I got this as an example of like how bad it can be. So I gave up on this one and sawed it in half for example purposes. But this bowl was like pretty difficult to work with because of that. So there's like a lot of sanding involved. You might be able to see like at the bottom, it started cracking. And so I had to like put glue on that to like hold it with the lathe. You'll see some kind of like little imperfections and things in there. But this one turned out all right. This wood was like kind of on the verge of punky, but also had some like cool stuff in it. So tried to make it work, but you can see some of these, there's like tons of tear out in the end grain areas, which is what can happen if you use punky wood. So so another one I did, this is out of walnut. That's another example of what not to do. So everything was going pretty well, and then I poked a hole in the bottom of it there. So that's part of what I've learned with having a mortise in the bottom versus the tenon is you have to watch how deep you go, obviously. So me and Margaret have been talking about ways to work on this one, and it did have a hole already in it, so not entirely my fault. But I'm thinking about kind of poking some other holes in this one and filling it with epoxy, and maybe have like another lid that has the same thing on the inside. But all in all, this walnut like works pretty well. I think it like looks really pretty. I have another one that I don't have today that is finished. It has like linseed oil, which I think makes it looks really nice and kind of dark. So there's that one. And this one is a live edge bowl that I did recently. I think that's as far as I can go. So you can see it has the bark on it. So the way that works for people in the room is, this is the tree here, and so you like take the wood out of this bark. So the bark stays on the outside, and you like dig out this part of the bowl. So this is slippery elm. This is something that Steve very kindly gave me, and I'm pretty happy with it. You'll see so sanding was done almost entirely with like a flappy sander bit and a drill, because sanding this on a lathe is really difficult because it's spinning like this and it's uneven edges, and so these are kind of just like flying around your hands while you're trying to sand it. So I could have done like sanding kind of like in the very bottom or the very end of this, but I ended up just deciding to take it off and just kind of sand the whole thing with the drill instead. This one was finished with wax, and so was that other maple bowl, and then I put some CA glue on the bark, which I think like held it in place and made it a little more sturdy. This one actually had a little hole in it, so I filled it with sawdust and CA glue. And I should say I owe all of my wood turning information to Margaret and Steve and Neil and Doug. So thank you to everybody that's helped me learn this stuff. But any questions on any of that?
A quick question, did you tape the edge before you did the CA glue?
Could I?
Did you tape it or did you just?
No, I just put CA glue on it straight. You're saying like to keep it from going down in the wood?
Right.
I didn't, and that may have been a mistake. I don't know, but because some did kind of go down in it a little bit, but yeah, that's a good idea for the future, certainly. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Those are beautiful, Hunter. I think I would repurpose the one that has the hole in the bottom for a chip bowl. It's about individual serving size, maybe. Next up, I think we probably will be using the front here. We have a telescope refurb with Jeff.
Just pull this over into frame. Okay. Got a little faster than I was expecting it to go there. Let's see here. I've got all my notes on this. So, this is a project that is many years in the making on my part. I've had this telescope since, what was it, about 98, 99-ish area. And I used it quite frequently back before we moved down here from Calgary. After the move, some stuff got messed with, it got broken on it, and it kind of ended up in a closet for a while. I managed to cobble some stuff together back in 2017 so I could catch the eclipse. You can see here, that's my do-it-yourself solar filter that I built for it. And used it, and I've used it actually many times for solar observations as well. After joining back up here a few months ago, I decided, okay, I need a project that is practical and actually does something useful. So I started looking at what was wrong with the telescope. So the first thing that I did was I looked into the 3D printing, and you see right here, there are 6 of these tripod heads that connect the tripod itself to the base of the telescope, mount. Every single one of them had sheared off over the years. So I had to get those, and I had to figure out how to do 3D printing CAD. I hadn't done CAD since 1992 when I was at University of Alberta in engineering. And we had a choice then between computer drafting and what we called graphite drafting at the time. So thinking of how long ago that was, things have changed a lot. So went looking for some software to be able to model this, and I found a piece of software called Onshape. It's not what we typically look at here for like free open source software. Oops. It is commercial software, but the limitations on it, you can get a free version provided that you don't want your files to be private. So all these designs that I've done on this are publicly available. Somebody can go and download them. Now I looked at, okay, what's the pro version where I can have private files and organize them and all of that stuff. Well, at $1,500 a year, that was a little more than I was willing to spend, and I don't really care if anybody else wants to download this. That's the tripod head right there. So I did that in basically I designed it in about an hour and a half with a pair of calipers and just drawing it out in the CAD software. And the first time I printed it, it actually fit like a glove into that tripod head, and then I just had to print out 5 more at the end of that. So after that was done, one more problem with the tripod itself. Down here you'll see a blue piece. There are 3 arms that go out from a central point to actually keep the tripod stable and spread out to a fixed distance. One of those had disappeared. I have no idea where it went. So again, measured it all out, printed it out, got something that worked with that. So that actually gave me a fully functional telescope at that point, but I wanted to go a little bit further with it. So I moved into the electronics zone was my next area. So there's the tripod arm being printed right there. So, let's see, the electronics zone. The electronics zone was where I built this out. You'll see down on the base here, there is a battery you'll see a lot of in the woodworking area. The Ryobi 18 volt battery pack right here. This is an ESP32 microcontroller. These are two stepper motor drivers so that I can those motors precisely. And this is just a buck converter because power comes out of that battery at 20 volts. And this thing really wants to see stuff at about 3 volts. So if I throw 20 volts into this, the magic smoke will come out. But the good thing is these motors love 20 volts. These motors, the motor drivers down there will run up to 40 volts or 48 volts without a problem. So got lots of power for those motors. That battery will run this scope at higher than the expected current draw that I will see for at least 4.5 hours on a night. Finally, on here, so these are motor mounts that were 3D printed for the telescope, along with gears to attach the motors to the actual shafts. I've got another set that I just printed that need to go on here to do a reduction gear set. This is currently a 1-to-1 set, but it's fully functional at this right now, and I should be plus or minus a few percent in terms of tracking stars throughout a night. That is all controlled by this little guy. So I'm completely able to control the telescope itself. That's part of the reason why I need the reduction gears. It just doesn't have the power. It's running short on torque, basically. That sound is not good. So I can put it in tracking mode. I can also slew it and move to point the telescope at whatever I need to relatively easily from the handheld. This handheld will run for about 1.5 to 2 hours on its internal battery. And I've just got a USB battery pack that I've had running this handheld for days at a time. So I can get out into the middle of nowhere where it's nice and dark, plug it in, and be completely independent. None of this needs any internet access to operate at all. No Wi-Fi, nothing. The farther you are from that kind of thing, the better off you are with the telescope. If you want to read more details, I'm keeping a log of all the stuff I'm doing with it. You can access it there, along with the code that runs the microcontroller, and this is up there as well. Questions?
What printer did you say you were using?
What's that?
What printer do you have?
The ones here.
Oh, okay. And what did you use? Test?
No. In fact, one of the tests on the motors were that they were running at about 70 degrees Celsius when they're under load for long periods of time. PET, not good. It deforms at about 60. So most of this stuff is printed in ABS.
Is the scope balanced on each axis?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I can just set it aside. I can move it with my little finger. So basically, these counterweights here balance it on this axis, and to balance it on this axis, where's my release for that? There it is. It's not well balanced right now, but basically I can loosen this up. I can slide the tube forward and back, or I can also move this dovetail where it mounts to the actual scope right here. I can shift that several inches to balance it, and that's probably half the time I spend setting up is getting everything balanced, which takes a lot of the load off the motors too.
Is that an 8-inch mirror?
8-inch, yeah. It's 8-inch, 1,000 millimeter focal length. So it's what's that, F5, I think? 8-inch at F5.
How much
Oh, God, I've got that somewhere because I figured it out to make sure that these mounts are okay. If I remember right, each of these counterweights is about 12 pounds. And this whole thing, everything above the tripod is about 50 total and breaks down into the tube itself, that mount, and the tripod. Breaks down into 3 pieces, plus the counterweights come off in 5 seconds. Okay.
I don't suppose you'll be using that or needing to use that for the solar eclipse, right?
I probably will be.
Really?
The 2017 one, I did use it.
Okay.
Well,
So there will be a partial eclipse October
14th.
14th.
Yeah.
It'll be Saturday morning-ish. You want to get, if you don't have any eclipse glasses, you need to get some now. If you have the cardboard ones from 2017, throw them out. They typically have a 5-year shelf life.
I probably do still have the ones from 2017, but I'm probably lucky that I wouldn't be able to find them because they're in that safe place. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Oh, this way? Yes. This way. All right, so for the next presenters up, you have to go this way so everybody can hear you. I'm used to seeing people on TV. They talk this way. All right. Okay, so next up we have some movie props from Victor.
Yay, 7 years of stand-up comedy finally paying off. So this is technically like movie making, actually, a little bit. But I'm going to go into, this is a bit of a teaser as well, because I'm going to go into each one of these over the next few weeks for show and share. So these are just some shots that I took when I went to the beach over this past weekend for my birthday, just to give you an idea kind of what we're doing. So this was, that's supposed to be a hand. It's kind of hard to see because the light was really bad, but this is one of those Halloween props that you can make where you just print out a thing and you jam it in a jar and it like looks like a head or a hand or whatever you want. Fun. I made a stencil today so that these look like, you know, stuff from an alien world. This is a sci-fi short film that I'm working on. Frustrated filmmaker. I went to film school and then now I'm a writer. Go figure. And there's my cat Gigi. So a lot of this, these are all props that I'm making for this thing, and I'm doing this completely by myself. All the sets, props, costuming, everything, script, acting mostly, is all me. This is a portal gun, and again, I'm going to get into the details of these particular pieces later on. This is like a little thing that attaches to that portal gun that I made. Now, this is PLA and resin. I was trying to get the effect of like a numpad, and numpads are really expensive now. I don't know if anybody's looked at those, but I guess they're for gaming and whatnot. So they're like 30, 40 bucks. I don't want to spend that on a prop. This is like maybe a nickel worth of material. Those are vinyl cuts that I actually just hand cut and put to make a fake language, basically. And then this, I actually have the physical model of with me. And this is like a little handheld death ray. And I made a cute little credit card size. And then I made this size, which is more like handheld-y. I'm going to put some fiber optics in here with a light on it so that you can actuate it and for shots make it look like there's actually a beam coming out. But what was fun about this in particular, and I'll just go into a little detail on this, you notice that the one on your left there doesn't have a crackle pattern, whereas this one does. That was kind of a happy accident. I've been trying to do crackle paint for a while, and unlike some of y'all, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I bought crackle paint at one point to do the effect. I was like, okay, this kind of works. So I sprayed on what's supposed to be this iridescent stuff without the black undercoat, which basically just does nothing. And so then I was like, oh, right, I got to put the black undercoat first. So then I went and put the black undercoat on and then put this green stuff. Somehow that alchemy worked out to where I got this crackle. It was essentially like, you know, gesso and like you're putting it on there like you would do, or Mod Podge for a traditional crackle paint effect. So I'm hoping I can recreate this at some point because I kind of like the crackle effect. Anyway, here's another piece that I printed out. And that's epoxy right here. And I just poured a couple more epoxy pieces this evening. So it was yellow, PLA, and then painted silver. Actually painted black first, then silver. There's going to be a light behind this thing that makes it look kind of like HAL 9000, which is neat. That's the portal gun with the projector inside it. That's going to be an animation that runs that kind of shows this cool, like, you know, portal-y effect. Oh, you can't really see that very well, can you? There you go. Kind of see that. There we go. It looks a lot cooler in person, I promise. And what's really funny is that projectors, the light that you get out of, especially a tiny projector, is not a lot. So in order to project onto the wall a light effect, I'm actually going to have to use a different light system that's like a party light, basically, to project it. So for certain shots, I'll have to kind of what we call cheat the shot, which is like behind the portal gun and me standing, and it's projecting this light pattern. But when you see it front on, it's going to have this like really cool thing that you can't see too well right there. There's another shot. That's the projector on the inside. I've got a little USB battery right here that's actually running a soldering project that I did here. And I think the first class that I took here that was learning how to solder, which I hadn't done in like 30 years, so I needed a refresher. We made a little star that blinks red and green. And so I taped it up here, and that actually goes onto some little crystals on the top of it. And then I've got another light on the top that sort of fades in and out. This is based in the Doctor Who universe. It's like a fanfic thing. So I wanted kind of a little TARDIS sort of light. And oh yeah, there we go. Those are the little crystals that'll blink red and green. There's the TARDIS light that'll go up and down. And there's that little calculator thing that actually has a magnet so you can take it on and off for certain shots. Now, another thing that happened when I was making this was I set these things out in the sun, and it's been a little warm. And so when I did, this printed flat. I actually printed it up and down like that, or up and down like that. But in the sun, I think it warped a little bit, which is kind of actually nice. It's nice and ergonomic now. I've also printed a brooch button with really, really strong magnets, so strong I almost hurt my hand. And so again, I'm doing all the costuming. This is a, oh, there you go. It's kind of it's an insignia that I did, and there's the magnets. I actually had to print a, again, kind of hard to see that, but, stop that. I actually had to print an extra disc on my resin printer. This was FDM print thing. I spray painted it, and then I had to print with my resin printer a tiny little shim to put on that, because I don't know if you know this, super glue and metal really aren't great friends. That other magnet, this magnet here, was so strong it was pulling it out of there. So I had to put this shim on and super glue it so it wouldn't yank the magnet right out. And then this is Tinkercad. I love Onshape. It's just way advanced for what I need. And so this, you can see like some of the places where I have actually designed from basic shapes. And Tinkercad is absolutely amazing. The kids in the robotics team used it, and I fell in love with it. It's super easy to make stuff and export, and you can even bring things in and fix them if you're ever having any kind of problems with that from like things that you download online. This is another model that I did, and completely in Tinkercad, printed and then painted, and that is it. But this is the crazy little death ray that you get an idea. So I will go into each one of these more in detail over the next few weeks, so just a teaser trailer for a little bit more. But the PLA printing is super fun, super easy. This created a lot of failed prints until I finally got it right. Any questions? Yeah. It will not include K9, even though it is set in E-Space where K9 was left with Romana, for those of you who know. But that is the sonic screwdriver that I'm using, which is actually a custom kit that they sell where you can like make your own. Yeah, so it's unique. Any other questions? All right. Thanks, Sean.
Well, thank you. Hopefully I'll be able to see some more of those props as you carry on, and painting techniques. Next up, let's sail away with the ship. Jerry.
I was fortunate enough to be able to take the class for the heat press because Tracy couldn't show up. So I stepped in, and so Sue comes, "What picture are you going to use?" And I go, "What are you talking about, picture? I just want to take the class." So, "Well, you got to have a picture for the class." It's just any picture you want to use. I go, "Where are they?" "They're on the internet." I go, "Okay, good old internet." I hate it. But I had to figure out what picture I wanted to use for the heat press. So I said, well, I got online, went to the USS McKean site, and came up with a nice picture for my cup. And it actually came out better than I thought it would. We just printed it up on the printer and put it in the heat press, and it was done. And it's dishwasher safe, so take the class.
Thank you for that plug. Yeah, well, let's go on from the seas to the skies with the model airplane that fails. Butch?
Provided I can get the video to work, this is going to be really short.
Oh, well.
We shall see. Video. See, is it going to? Yeah, I'm gonna show you one. Nope, it looks like it's going to. Whoa. Yeah. It's playing. I apologize for all the shots of my back. It just. See about yeah, I'm trying to having to hold the microphone and yeah. Well, anyway, I've anybody who's been here for a while has probably seen me a couple of times. I've brought in model airplanes I built. Well, not everyone turns out to do really well, and every so often, whoops. I have to sort of thin the herd. There, let's see there. And sometimes it takes a bit to get going. But yeah, various airplanes, sometimes there's one that doesn't show up well now in the video, but the large wing right in front, where I had to build 3 fuselages for the thing. It once landed in the road and got hit by a car, and it just had so many bad memories attached to it that I didn't want to fly it anymore. Others simply didn't go well. There's one, again, you can't see it, but it was for a group fly contest. And I managed to break it 3 different ways the day of the flying. And just other things, sometimes you, the field where I used to fly, the company that owned it sold it to another company that decided to turn it into an apartment complex. I had built the airplane. I had noticed sometimes on some of my planes that the swallows that lived in the field would chase certain ones. And I thought it was because they had a slight resemblance to hawks. And I thought, well, I'll build one that looks more like a hawk and see if I can get more birds to chase it. But then along came the apartment complex, and that kind of went for nothing. But
Yeah, that's fire.
that's fire, yes. If you're really interested, you can get on YouTube and search for Burn Pile 2023 and see it and what it's supposed to really look like. But yeah, sometimes you just build, sometimes I built one plane, again, you can't see it in the video now, but I used the wrong strength balsa for the fuselage, and I broke it like half a dozen times before I even got it to the flying field, and then it didn't fly well when I got there, so. Yep, just not everything. Sometimes you just got to thin out the herd and get rid of all the junk. It's a little more to go, but there's not anything really spectacular left. A little more, one more little flare up, and that's about it. Any questions?
Did you name this aircraft?
No, not the particular. The design, the one that I kept messing up the fuselages on, the design is called a Senator. It's a popular design from the, I think, early 1950s that still flies very well. The other one, the one that was supposed to imitate a hawk, was called the Flying Aces Moth. And again, it was a very popular design from the 1930s. And there we are. That's pretty much the final bit of flying. So, any other questions?
Well, we're sorry for your loss.
Well, yeah, but now it gives me place to put all the new ones I plan to build in the near future. I'm building a new model building table that doesn't frustrate me, like my current one does. All righty, thank you.
Next up, it looks like we're coming back to the ground and getting a cat, a laser engraved cat. Whoa, Wes? And company.
You want to say? Go ahead. Do you want to say something? Say hi.
If you
Hi.
Okay, stand over there. Okay, stand right there. A little more to your right. Okay. So this is my little helper, and we are going to show off a laser engraved cat that we made together. The can we see it on the video? Okay. Okay. So we actually came up with the idea herself. Aria did, and let's do. Okay. This design was from Midjourney. It's an AI art generator, and she decided she wanted a kitty cat with big eyes playing with a ball of yarn. And so created it and then put it on the laser engraver, and it took about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so to get it done. And then it didn't work. Yeah, so it didn't work.
And then it finally did.
Okay, and then it finally did. And then she colored it herself. She decided on all the colors herself. So it's gesso on the back, and then I had put masking tape on it. And so when she colored it, it was really easy for her to stay within the lines and stuff like that. But the hardest part, though, was probably the eyes, which somehow we were able to get done through masking tape. This thing isn't just getting right in there. So we did masking tape on it and stuff like that, and did some shipping tape, and it worked out pretty well, I think. So a pretty good project for the both of us to work on. She really enjoyed it. She's going to hang it up, and then we got a lot more stuff to do. So any questions? Yes? We colored with acrylic. Yeah, acrylic paint. Hmm?
And it was gray.
It was gray, yes.
And then orange.
And then orange, yes. Question?
And what color are the ears?
Red.
In the back. Yeah, basically, I did a trace image on in Inkscape, and so I was able to get it going in such a way. I was able to get it in such a way that it did the outlines of the coloring, because when it came out like 6 different colors, and so there was all different shades and stuff like that, and it was just easier to do all one color and stuff like that. So that's what we ended up doing. But yeah, it that's why you see some of the lines and stuff like that, you know, look like it should be other colors and stuff like that. But yeah. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
That is awesome work. When I first heard the phrase, I was a little afraid, especially with Halloween coming up, what that project might be. But let's move on to another sign. Joe? So which of you gets the math, Mike? Not it? All right. I'll just leave it here.
Hello, I'm Joe. This is my son Joey. Yeah, I made a scrap metal art sign. I know that we have the Makers Market coming up, and there are other events sometimes that we put up our tent at. And so having something to have on display maybe would be handy. So. I made the frame out of saw blades. I don't know if you can see that from back there. And then there's basically what I did to do it was I took the large format printer and I made this. And then I just kind of, tall ways. And then I just kind of built it right over the top of it. So. Here. That's all right, Joey. Thanks. There's a couple of details that I kind of like I wanted to show. I don't know if I'll be able to get it underneath the projector, though. Well, sort of. So the hasp that I used there, it was kind of cool how the chain kind of connected into it. And then also, I don't know if I'll be able to get it, but this spring from the channel locks fit neatly into the retaining pin for the pin here too. So it's just kind of fun how things just sort of stuck together like that. But I'm always a big fan of how metal and steel has enough strength to leave it like floating out in space. But yeah, so it's a sign.
How long did it take, Joe?
The time study was 7 hours, which included a trip to Taco Bell. More questions? Yes, I welded each individual link all the way around it so that it would hold its shape around there. And everything that is in that sign came from the metalworking scrap pile. So I know that, like we hold a scrap art class every once in a while, and it's just another example of stuff that you can do with it.
Thank you, Joe. That's really creative. Not only is the Maker Market coming up, but so is Halloween. It's only 35 more days. So I've been working on Halloween, and one of the things I do is make a costume for my grandson. I do have two. All right, one is 17 now, and the other is going to be 4. So this is for the younger one, just to help clarify. So he gave me a picture of what he wanted, or his mom did. And so I started with this, thinking it was a hooded gown. Oh, the hood is not attached. Okay, how about this one? Oh, that's closer to what I want, but not quite. Oh, I kind of like this one. especially this guy because he has a mask with very large eye holes, and that's needed for a safe costume. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to talk like 10 minutes, only 3 minutes, because I'm going to give you a little teaser every week until Halloween, and maybe you can guess what this is going to be. I did this a couple years ago with an astronaut costume for him. The pattern I ended up with was this one, and I liked it because it also had a mask, but I like the other mask better. And the thing with fiber arts is you can mix and match patterns. I like the clasp on this better. It was easier. I don't like the bow tie. I do want the hood, and I like the layers. I also like the fact that this one says you can do it in 1 hour. So there's your answer to how long did it take? How long is it expected to take? Two totally different things. So I think that's all I've got for tonight. I did want to do the layers, and then I went shopping for fabric. So more next week. In the meantime, let's talk about what's coming up soon, like the Makers Market. It's right on the cusp. So for that, we're going to need some help. We need lots of volunteers. So tonight, if you could grab maybe some cleaning supplies and work in your favorite zone to help tidy up for all the people we're going to have coming through, that would be greatly appreciated. In arts and crafts, if you could please clean off any projects you have off the tables, make sure they're clear. I believe Sean was going to set up some things to be on display out there, so we want that looking really well. The mystery maker machine. I noticed some baubles. If you've got baubles, please bring them in with the stuff you've got to go in them. We need volunteers to help check the emergency door route because we are going to have tours and people going out that door, and we don't want any of them to twist their ankle. So if we could get some volunteers to check that out. Also need volunteers to put the tarp on the kill switch trailer. The last thing we want is kill switch trailer with a whole bunch of ratty tarp on it. If you could you please stay away from working in the shop on Saturday or on Sunday, October 1st, just so that we don't have a problem with taking people through and you trying to work and then being able to hear the tour. That would be greatly appreciated. But for things for us to do, we have lots of classes posted. One of them is a heat press class, and you saw a little bit of that, a sample from that. The tickets are going really quickly. Hope to have another class on the calendar in a couple weeks. So that's going well. We talked about a blacksmith, whack and yak. I believe that's Thursday. Maybe they'll be making some little leaves to go into the baubles. We have a free CAD class, so if you want to make little doodads to repair your telescope or maybe model some movie props, you might check out that free CAD class. There's several of them on the calendar. We have Intro to Metalworking. You can learn how to make a sign, like Joe. That's Saturday, October 14th. And then we have a cutting torch and a TIG class on the 22nd. And not to be left out, we have our monthly stitch and talk on Saturday, October 21st. Just come on in and gab away. So another thing we would need is volunteers to change the filters, and I wonder if maybe our cleaning person didn't quite catch all the trash cans over in Bay 3. So somebody could please check the trash cans over there and change the filters. That would be great. So lots of volunteer opportunities. Russell, just so everybody knows who you are, where you are, there you are. See Russell if you'd like to help. And he'll give you, yeah. Let's see, what else have I got? Oh, yes, new member onboarding did move, excuse me, to October 3rd. And it moved because, you know, COVID's on the rise again, and we want to keep everybody safe. So out of respect for everyone, we moved it away. We moved it out a week until people could start feeling better. If you need a test kit, go to covid.gov. They are, once again, giving out free test kits. I think that's about all I have. Grab some cleaning supplies, help tidy, yes?
I just wanted to let everybody know there's a table out front by the door that's got a bunch of t-shirts on it. Those are free t-shirts. If anybody wants a t-shirt, like to mow your yard or change on your truck or something, literally they're just leftover t-shirts that we had at my office. So free t-shirt if you want it.
All right. Just in case you didn't hear, free t-shirts out by the front door? Yeah. Cleaning t-shirts if you want. Get bleach spots on them. You could really get a tie-dye effect. Mowing the lawn. Painting. Ooh, that's another good effect, right? Yeah. Yes, sir.
I didn't get in on the sign-up. I brought something in to show us here. I can get done in 3 minutes.
If you can keep it under 3 minutes, you got it, sir.
Okay. This is Halloween coming up. And I thought I'd do something a little different. So, Thor has a hammer. I don't have a hammer. This is what, is it right side up or upside down? That's upside down. That, okay, that's not me. Oh, that's not me. But it, hey, yeah, I recognize that. But here is what I'm building for my hammer. Okay, the orange is one piece of aluminum, the blue is a tube of aluminum, that is a different piece. I'm doing this as fast as I can. And this is just another version I was playing with. And when you're through designing this and you want to make a sheet metal part, it looks something like this. Back, this. Come on, like that. Or when you use a plasma torch, it looks like this. Time to cut, under 30 seconds. Whoa. Yeah. So this is only 070 thick aluminum, and I've decided I'm going to go a little thicker. But this is something we'll be able to do on that plasma torch out there. The next question, this is sort of like metal origami. You got to figure out how to bend it, where to bend it first, and so forth. That I'll be playing with here. But again, Chris Hemsworth, I am not. Just for a laugh. Yeah, that's not me. But I'll be playing with this in different versions up to Halloween to see if I can make my own hammer. It'll be, you can pick it up, unlike his. All right, any questions?
So you said that was for Halloween?
Yeah.
Yes, we did get one Halloween share.
So I've to be polite to people, I've got some black pajamas, not tights. I'll spare you. A Under Armour shirt that looks kind of like that. I'm going to overnight bleach my hair blonde. Can't find a cape. I need a cape. Anyway, all right. Thank you very much. I think I was under 3.
Were there any questions? Okay. That's great. I'm glad there was at least one other Halloween show. I mean, we're getting 35 days in only, what, 4 weeks? We got,
Give me some time.
yeah. We'll get going here. Okay, enough talk. Now it's time for everyone to go out and have fun in the shop, do a little volunteer work, maybe have some more fun in the shop. Have a great evening.